Good morning, Bubble Bobble. It's me, Darth Cobain17, back after another Leafs game. Last night's game was full of little kind of weird storylines. The Arizona Coyotes were in town. They are also kind of in that team of could be in, could be out of the playoffs, depending on how these last couple dozen games go. And within the game, there were two significant plot lines for the Leafs at least. Freddie was supposed to be back and to have made the start last night, but during, I think, practice in the morning or the pregame skate or something, I think it was practice, the game day practice, he wasn't feeling right and I guess pulled himself from the start. So Jack Campbell was in for the third start in a row since he became a Leaf in that trade. And the other part was that there's a bit of a flu bug, I guess, going through the Leaf room. So I think Justin Hall, John Tavares, and I think Hyman were all kind of game time decisions, and they all ended up playing. So there's a few things going on that changed the game's complexion a little bit, but it was an interesting game. The Coyotes scored just a minute into the first period on a bad break. A point shot hit one of the Coyotes in front and took a massive rebound to the other side of the ice, right onto the stick of another Coyote, and he basically had an empty cage to shoot it into. And then the first and second period especially were like these sequences of really fast, intense periods of play, and then it would kind of bog down and slow down and become kind of sloppy and slow and choppy and kind of uninspired, and it would go back and forth like that between the first and second period, I found. And there were stretches within those times where even if the pace was good and they were both playing really well, that there weren't a lot of shots being had within those time frames. So it was really, even though the shots got up, the third period there was a lot of shots, but over the first two periods it was a lot of really a lot of defense on both sides and a lot of block shots and stuff like that, and they really had to kind of fight for their ice and their chances. So but the Leafs, they battled in the first period, and near the end of the first period, Tyson Barrie did a good job to keep the puck in at the blue line, and after dishing off and then getting the puck back, he whipped a point shot towards the net, and it hit Hyman in the shin pad and made a perfect deflection in glove side, and so that tied things up. Second period, the Coyotes were the only team to get on the board, and it came within the last minute. Those ones are always killers. And so that put the Yotes up 2-1 going into the third period. So, and we know what the Leafs' third periods have been like. So maybe instead of playing with a lead or having a tie going into the third period, maybe playing from behind is a better scenario for them to take into a third period. And it was. They played a much better. The third period was, I think, their best period of the game, in a way anyways. Their defense loosened up, but their offense also got going a bit more. So, but they did manage to tie it up, and it was a neat play too. They were kind of throwing the puck around the zone a bit, and then a pass came down low to Tavares in the slot, and he had been pushed or tripped or something like that. So he took the pass kind of down on one knee, and then from one knee slipped a nice little backhand pass across the top of the crease to Hyman on the other side, who potted his second goal of the game to tie things up at 2. And it would have to go to overtime. So they banked a point, and hopefully, unlike the Montreal game where they kind of blew it, they would do the opposite in this game. And it was close because Arizona actually scored, but Stepan made a bit of contact with Campbell at the top of the crease, and they called it off for goalie interference, which was kind of a nice little break for the Leafs finally. And then not long afterwards, they were able to end it. It was an interesting play. The Yotes were buzzing in the Leafs zone again, and the puck was sent back to their man at the point, but it was it was a bad pass or something, so it kind of got past him and bounced up into the air. So then Kapanen chased it down, hit it with his stick out of midair, and then caught up to the puck, and then he had back pressure coming on him pretty close, so he just used his speed to kind of cut in towards the net, and then he just wristed a shot past the goalie to get the 3-2 win. So that was a huge 2 points, and maybe a much closer game than I was hoping that it should have been, especially since the Yotes played the night before in Montreal. So, but either way, they're back in the win column, and hopefully the flu bug gets through them, and Freddie gets back. But that being said, Campbell, after that first game where he gave up 4 goals, his last 2 games have been fantastic. Like, he's been really good. So, so that's good. And yeah, and then they also set some sort of NHL record for wins against teams who are coming off a game the night before. This is their, God, I don't remember how many times they've won in that scenario, but they just set the last night's win set a new record for that, which was set back in 1984 by the Flyers, I believe. So, so a little bit of history, kind of a weird stat, but hey, we'll take all the records we can get, right? Other than that, I didn't see a lot of last night's game because I'm actually getting a little bit concerned because I get home now these days and I like fall asleep immediately. Like, it always starts in the second period of the hockey game if we're measuring it by that time of the night, and then the third periods I basically miss anymore because I'm like on the couch just, and so I'm actually starting to get a little bit concerned. Like, do I have cancer or some other disease? Like, why am I suddenly falling asleep everywhere? So yeah, maybe it's just this winter that's kicking my ass right now, but we'll see. And the other thing to note, NHL-wise, is last night during the Blues-Ducks game, Jay Bouwmeester collapsed on their bench in some sort of cardiac episode, they called it. So, something to do with his heart. And they got him to the hospital pretty quick, and it sounds like the original testing and everything is okay. But it just goes to show, you know, like, here's a guy who's a NHL veteran, is probably, you know, one of the best in-shape people there is, right? And is still fairly young, and you know, has a heart problem on the bench during a hockey game, right? So it just goes to show you never know. So, but yeah, hopefully Jay is all right and he can even get back at the good old hockey game soon enough, and it's just a one-time incident and nothing permanent or anything like that. So yeah, so good on everybody for getting him to the hospital and making sure he was taken care of, and hopefully we will see the Bouwmeester back on the ice in the near future. But yeah, so that's all for now. Big win. See if we can keep it going. Haven't checked the schedule, so I'm not sure when they play next, but either way, they got to win. So that's all you can do. Just keep winning. Anyways, till next time, have a great day.